with 2023 Montana Football Hall of Fame inductee Dan Rambo, the Libby Logger. And Dan, congratulations, first of all, on your induction in a class of 6 this year. And my first question is your feelings. What's going through your mind as you spend the weekend here in Billings and being honored like this?
Well, the first thing I did was to try to figure out why I was inducted. And the second thing was who else is there. And as it ends up, I know of most of them, and I know a couple of them. And so I thought that'd be pretty cool to go reminisce about the old days.
Well, I'm going to give folks more than a few reasons why you're here, not the least of which was, well, let's start in your college career. Carroll College led the nation in rushing your senior season in the NAI at 150 plus yards per game. And I was told that there was actually a situation where you got kicked off a team not once but twice in the same day. Is that true?
Who told you that?
Did Potter have something to do with that?
2 times, the same practice, same day. So, yeah, he did that.
Do you want to explain why he did that?
Well, you know, Putter's pretty gung-ho, and everybody's supposed to follow his path. And it happened that day I had laryngitis, and I couldn't talk. And he wants me to rah, rah, rah. Well, I'm not a rah, rah guy in the first place. And in second place, I couldn't talk. And so he didn't want to hear it. He says, get off the field. So I said, fine. And so I go in the locker room, and I figured he's just hot, you know, and someone will tell him that I can't talk. So I come back out on my own 20 minutes later, and I'm practicing. I'm ready to go. And he said, hey, Rambo, what are you doing out here? So I said, get your ass off the field. So away I went again. I almost went from running back to defensive back for the defensive coaches that said, hey, you can play for us. So, but you have to know Putter to appreciate that, though. You know, he knew what buttons to push.
Well, it sounds consistent with something he might have done. We'll leave it at that. 1976, shot with the New York Giants and some other NFL teams before you went on and to a great career, which we'll get to in a moment. But back then in the 70s and going through that process, what was that like compared to today's the way we view the NFL and players coming out of college?
Well, you leave Montana in 80-degree weather and maybe 60-degree humidity, and you end up in New York City at Pace University with 100-degree temperature and 98% humidity, and you just about wilt. And that alone, I felt totally out of place. And then the realization hits you that there's 6 weeks of two-a-days before the 6 preseason games, and it's mind-boggling, you know. And anyway, I got sent home, and my dad met me at the airport in Spokane. And kind of what got me going was when I got home, my mom says, what are you going to do now? And I didn't know. And she plopped the phone down in front of me, and she says, start calling. And I ran up $300 worth of phone bills, and she didn't bat an eye. I mean, $300 in those days was a lot of money. But one thing led to another, and I get more tryouts, and that's how it went for probably 3 or 4 years.
And you found your true calling then in the front office of football, director of player personnel, and spent a lot of time in the CFL, Canadian Football League, and then back here with the National Football League. How did that come about, and what was that experience like for decades?
Well, in '83, I got the call from John Herrera and to ask me to come up and be the director of scouting. And basically, I said, John, whatever I don't know, you're going to have to teach me, and that's what he promised to do. And I think I was there until after the '89 season when we won the Grey Cup. I got a call sometime in July or August of the next year to go down and interview with the World League of American Football. And that was really kind of my dream, was to work football worldwide. And Tex Schramm ran that show then, and so I go down and interviewed with him and ended up with the job.
And then not only do you have a ring with the Grey Cup and the CFL, but also one in the National Football League with the Denver Broncos in the back-to-back Super Bowl wins, John Elway and the crew down in Denver. That had to be a great experience.
Well, when I got that call, I had worked a couple years before that as a part-time fill-in guy for the Northeast area as a scout because they were short a guy. Somebody got sick. And so then that's what got another chance 3 or 4 years later after Saskatchewan. Going back to Saskatchewan, they called me and asked me if I wanted to continue doing the Northeast. And I thought, man, they just won the Super Bowl. This is a great place to go and learn how teams that have won the Super Bowl do it. And so then I spent 8 years there. It was a great experience. I loved Denver, and I did learn a lot.
Well, what a terrific experience that you can impart to young people as well, from the town of Libby to the Frontier Conference, the Carroll College, to the NFL, to a career that spanned decades. It really solidifies the fact that it doesn't matter where you're from, it's the desire, it's the ability to want, and you were able to achieve an awful lot.
Yes. I kind of always was brought up that you have to earn what you get, and it's hard work, and it's persistence and determination, and I was lucky enough to have good parents and good support.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, Dan Rambo, 2023 inductee into the Montana Pro Football Hall of Fame.